Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Today I will be discussing what is epigenetics. Here's a conundrum. Identical twins originate from the same DNA, so how can they turn out so different even in traits that have a specific genetic component? For instance, why might one twin get heart disease at 55 while his brother runs marathons in perfect health? Nature versus nurture has a lot to do with it, but a deeper related answer can be found within something called epigenetics. Epigenetics is the study of how DNA interacts with the multitude of smaller molecules found within cells, which can activate and deactivate genes. If you think of DNA as a recipe book, those molecules are largely what determine what gets cooked. They aren't making any conscious choices themselves, rather their presence and concentration within cells makes the difference. So how does that work? Genes in DNA are expressed when they are read and transcribed into RNA, which is translated into protein by structures called ribosomes. And proteins are much of what determines a cell's characteristics and functions. Epigenetic changes can boost or interfere with the transcription of specific genes. The most common way interference happens is the DNA or the protein it's wrapped around gets labeled with small chemical tags. The set of all the chemical tags that are attached to the genome of a given cell is called the epigenome. Some of these, like a methyl group, inhibit gene expression by derailing the cellular transcription machinery or causing the DNA to coil more tightly, making it inaccessible. The gene is still there, but it's silent. Boosting transcription is essentially the opposite. Some chemical tags will unwind the DNA, making it easier to transcribe, which ramps up production of the associated protein. Epigenetic changes can survive cell division, which means they can affect an organism for its entire life. Sometimes that's a good thing. Epigenetic changes are part of normal development. The cells in an embryo start with one master genome. As the cells divide, some genes are activated and others inhibited. Over time, through this epigenetic reprogramming, some cells develop into heart cells and others into liver cells. Each of the approximately 200 cell types in your body has essentially the same genome but its own distinct epigenome. The epigenome also mediates a lifelong dialogue between genes and the environment. The chemical tags that turn genes on and off can be influenced by factors including diet, chemical exposure, and medication. The resulting epigenetic changes can eventually lead to disease. If, for example, they turn off a gene that makes a tumor suppressing protein. Environmentally induced epigenetic changes are part of the reason why genetically identical twins can grow up to have very different lives. As twins get older, their epigenomes diverge, affecting the way they age and their susceptibility to disease. Even social experiences can cause epigenetic changes. In one famous experiment, when mother rats weren't attentive enough to their pups, genes in the babies that helped them manage stress were methylated and turned off, and it might not stop with that generation. Most epigenetic marks are erased when egg and sperm cells are formed, but now researchers think that some of those imprints survive, passing those epigenetic traits on to the next generation. Your mother's or your father's experiences as a child or choices as adults could actually shape your own epigenome. Let's see what Allah Azza wa Jal says in the glorious Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the glorious Quran in Surah Fatir, chapter number 35, verse number 11. And Allah created you from dust, then from a sperm drop, then He made you mates, and no female conceives, nor does she give birth, except with His knowledge. And no aged person is granted additional life, nor is his lifespan lessened, but that it is in a register. And inna dhalika ala Allahi yasir, and indeed that for Allah is easy. With an healthy Islamic lifestyle, with physical fitness, mental fitness, and spiritual fitness, and avoiding exposure to contaminants, may in the long run create a healthy epigenome. So I invite all of you that come towards the worship of only Creator, Cherisher, Sustainer Allah. Worship Him alone. Worshipping Allah alone leads to heaven. Worshipping creations like sun, moon, stars, stones, idols, statues, etc. leads to hellfire. Worship Allah alone and obey His final messenger Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Live a peaceful, prosperous, secure and successful life. Have Islam. Get success in this world and hereafter. Assalamu alaikum.